Hello, 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 and welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the use and reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is bipcot.org. We're also protected by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969. Which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical and educational and entertainment, and we have no idea what we're doing.
No one, I mean, it's got to be likely to produce such action, and there's no way that enough people actually listen to this to make it likely to do anything. So no one takes this seriously.
At least not regular listeners. Like, I'm sure we have an occasional listener that we could, but
I can't be responsible for crazies.
Yeah, I mean that person has to be pretty glowy in order to like take what we have to say serious.
Yeah. Glowing like a fucking those iridescent ghouls in Fallout, you know. Let me guess, you wear polo shirt and the dad shorts and
well, looks like the guys from the Fed protest on the 6th.
Yeah. I still love that fucking meme where they're all, it's the Spider-Man dressed like that, all pointing at each other in a big circle.
That's Brandon Herrera showed that on the AK guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone who saw that image was like, that's a bunch of fucking feds.
Yeah. Either feds or informants.
Yeah, the whole lot of them. Like, there's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do, fellow protesters? Is it time for violence?
Yeah, they're snitching you out quick as fuck.
Yeah. Moral of that story is if somebody's wearing a salmon-colored Lacoste polo and dad shorts and shows up to your protest with some Oakleys and a high and tight haircut, maybe don't talk to them about doing
dress socks.
Yeah, and dress socks. And clearly has a gun-shaped bulge in their pocket and then a bad-shaped bulge in their other pocket. We can probably guess they're maybe not the person that you're going to talk to about your gun collection.
Oh, yeah. They want to start showing you pictures of their SBR.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't tax stamp it or anything. Do you have any like that?
Fucking glow bugs.
How do you do, fellow 3D gun printers?
You know, it's funny that we just ran into that topic because I have a lot of police articles.
Hey.
Yeah. Let's see. There's 2, there's 3, 4. I have 4 police articles. 5, if you include the one I didn't mention or didn't put on the queue, because I want your honest take on that one. And you know how I like to surprise you guys with those ones.
Yeah. Those always come with but wait, it gets better. Every fucking time, man. Every time.
Oh, you want to just get into that one?
Sure, why not?
Oh. Remember, you asked for this. You asked for
this. No.
A cop killed an innocent man after a swatting prank call. The city cannot be sued. Oh, just wait. Take a deep breath. Goose for a ba, the negative energy. And just wait a second. Let me get into it. All right. On a chilly December evening in 2017, a group of Wichita cops surrounded a modest house on West McCormick Street. They were there in response to purportedly a gruesome hostage situation a father shot dead, a mother in danger, and a son threatening to burn everything down. When Andrew Finch opened the door to his home, a sniper rifle killed him within seconds. 30 minutes passed before anyone rendered emergency aid. Cops handcuffed his mother, sister, niece, and 2 friends outside in 24-degree weather for over an hour. But Finch was not the son the police were after, nor was he and the family involved in any crisis.
Oh my fucking God.
That's because there was no crisis. Around 5 p.m. that day, a prank known as swatting, a California caller dialed the Wichita Police Department and reported a work of fiction dueling out the address and setting the chaos in motion. The officers involved failed to do the basics before exercising lethal force on an innocent man, according to the lawsuit filed by the family. The suit says that the officers subverted department policy by declining to call a SWAT team, opted not to conduct any sort of inquiry despite, quote, obvious warning signs that the call would be a farce, and did not try to negotiate with Finch before ending his life, among several other mishaps.
Yeah, because they just had a fucking hard-on to go get to murder somebody, so they're like, yeah, we got to kill a guy. I have the IQ of a jar of warm mayonnaise.
Quote, after defendant officers surrounded 1033 West McCormick, they made no attempt to determine whether an occupant of the house was in a mental health crisis, had shot someone, had threatened to hold or was holding someone against gunpoint, had threatened or was threatening to burn the house down, had threatened or was threatening to commit suicide, was in possession of a firearm, or posed a danger to themselves or others, reads the suit, which was originally filed against the city of Wichita and officers Justin Rapp, who fired the shot, and Benjamin Jonker, Jonker, who organized the response. Yes, whether the family will see anyone face accountability remains uncertain. Quote, the argument from the police officers seems to be basically because they thought a heinous crime had been committed, it was fine to shoot Mr. Finch on sight as soon as he opened the door. That's not how our justice system works. You don't get to shoot someone on sight because you think they committed a heinous crime. And that is from Iyasha and the attorney at the MacArthur Justice Center who is representing the family.
Except that is exactly how our justice system works. That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how it claims to fucking work, but that is definitely exactly how it works.
Yeah. Anand recently made the argument to the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit, pushing back on Rapp's contention that he should be protected by qualified immunity.
Qualified immunity, though, requires that you're operating in good faith and within department policy. They were neither operating in good faith nor under department policy.
By definition, that's how it should be.
Yeah, according to the actual Supreme Court case that created qualified immunity, the entire doctrine.
SCOTUS just punted on a qualified immunity case that we'll get to in a minute. I'll get to later, and it's almost as bad as this.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
The man opened his door and they just shot him. There's a word for that. It's fucking murder. But because they had their magical costumes on and some random person called them and told them that somebody was doing something, then magically up qualified immunity. Now they can murder with absolute impunity. Yeah, there were psychopaths at that house who were looking to shoot people. They were the 2 cops outside.
Yeah, last summer, a lower court agreed with Anand. Rapp was not protected by qualified immunity, and that the family should thus be able to ask a jury for damages. She hopes that the 10th Circuit will agree. But the U.S. District Court for the District of Kansas quashed the suit against the city, which she hopes the appeals panel will revive. Quote, the most discipline we've seen for any officer-involved shooting, including ones where Wichita itself conducted the Fourth Amendment or concluded that the Fourth Amendment was violated, was a 1-day suspension. A note to nod.
Fucking day.
Yeah, quote, the other piece that's at stake in this appeal is the idea that municipalities have some sort of responsibility to enforce the Constitution and make sure their officers are following it.
Don't Yeah, I seem to remember cops like took the same oath that
Hold
we
on.
did to go into the military to uphold the Constitution.
All right, you ready for this one? You know it's going to get worse, right?
Yeah, that's why I poured more mead.
In striking down the Finch's family's claim against the city, the district court employed bizarre logic. The municipality couldn't be sued, it said, because there was no, quote, pattern of incidents resulting in jury verdicts in the police department. The municipality couldn't be sued, it said, because there was no, quote, pattern of incidents resulting in jury verdicts.
So because no one has been able to get the qualified immunity removed, they're not going to remove any kind of qualified immunity.
It's because no judges have ordered jury cases or jury verdicts against the city. The court cannot order a jury verdict against the city.
So we're doing that again.
Yes,
we're doing that again
because there's no precedence. I'm ruling against this.
Yeah, because there's no precedent, I'm not going to establish a precedent, because in order to establish a precedent, there needs to be a precedent, because I can't establish a precedent without a precedent, which I would be establishing.
Yeah, what that guy said.
I like want to flip the desk right now. The just picture the desk flipping emoji right now. That's of course there's no precedent, because this is what you motherfuckers keep doing. You keep just punting this and going, well, I'm not going to be the first one. So it never gets fucking done, but you can't use the logic, well, no one else has done it for the first time, and it's not going to be me, to justify you going, no one else has done it for the first time, and it's not going to be me. That's it doesn't that isn't logic. That's begging the question.
it's so bad. Like, no investigation at all. Zero investigation of any kind. Like, not even knock on the door. Not even.
What they used to call that, the investigating, is they called it police work.
Yeah.
They used to call that it was police work. So there was no police work by the police.
Yeah. The only quote unquote police work involved here was a guy pulling a trigger on an innocent man as soon as he walked out of his house.
The moment he opened his door.
Assumably walked out of the house to say, hey, what the fuck are all these police doing out here?
Yeah. And for all they know, based on the information they've gotten, maybe that's another hostage that's being let go, and they just fucking shot him.
Yep.
They have no idea. They don't know the situation. They don't know what's going on in the house. They have no clue. They simply wanted to kill somebody. They showed up there hoping to get to kill somebody.
Sitting up there in his nest, adrenaline going, finger on the fucking trigger. Reflex
shot. My guess is he probably even had the trigger loaded.
Yep.
He already had loaded weight on it. I guarantee you. He already had it loaded.
If he's a sniper, possibly a 2-stage trigger.
Yeah. So he's already got all the take up out of it. It's sitting right at that wall. So all he's got to do is twitch, and that fucker goes off. That's what he's doing. And so the moment he sees the guy, he twitches and the round goes. Which is, not what even snipers are trained to do.
It's definitely not department policy. It's not. I guarantee that's not department policy.
Yeah. You have no idea who anybody is. You don't know what anybody looks like. Again,
because they didn't do any investigation.
Yeah, because you didn't do an investigation.
So even
if this is a hostage situation, that could have been a hostage walking out of the door, having been released to go deliver a message from the hostage taker or something. That could have been what's going on, and you just shot him in the fucking face the moment you saw him.
Yeah. And he expects qualified immunity.
Yeah, and then, I should get to murder anybody I want because I was wearing my magic costume. And the sad thing is, he's going to get it.
Probably.
He's going to get it, because that is how the court system in the United States fucking works. he's going to get qualified immunity. He just murdered someone for no reason at all, but because he was wearing his magical suit at the time, he's going to get to walk on it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, these people have names and addresses.
They actually named him in the article. So
yeah. So what are the names of the cops again?
Rap and something or other.
Well, Rap's the one who organized it. I don't know. You didn't share the article, so I can't see it.
Damn it. Let's see, where'd it go? It is. Let's see. Jonker organized. Justin Rapp was the shooter.
Justin Rapp.
Yeah.
R-A-A-P?
R-A-P-P.
R-A-P-P.
P-P.
In what town again was this? This is
Wichita.
Wichita, Kansas. So Justin Rapp in Wichita, Kansas. Just mentioning.
Plays Minecraft. All right. Yeah. So now that you're nice and angry, you want to hear that other qualified immunity story?
Sure, why not? I feel like getting drunk tonight.
Oh, okay. This one is on the Hill, and it's from the 4th, so it's a week old. The Supreme Court on Monday declined to hear a dispute over the fatal police shooting of a schizophrenic man in the case that raised questions about legal barriers to suing government workers for alleged wrongdoings. The lawsuit was
brought... a schizophrenic man. Where have we heard that before?
Just hold that breath.
Mm-hmm.
The lawsuit was brought by the mother of victim Willie Gibbons, who was shot and killed in 2011 by a New Jersey state trooper while Gibbons was holding a gun to his own head.
You don't get to kill you. I get to kill you.
Immunity, or let's see, a federal appeals court last year found that the officer Noah Bartlett was entitled to qualified immunity, a controversial legal doctrine that erects a high bar a plaintiff must clear in order to successfully sue government workers for alleged misconduct on the job.
High bar? Are you kidding me? That's so fucking it erects a wall, an impenetrable, infinitely tall wall. You cannot clear that barrier. If anything has been taught to us in the past year, it's that you cannot clear that fucking barrier.
Qualified immunity broadly shields law enforcement and other government employees from liability unless it's proven they violated a clearly established constitutional right, presenting a legal or a difficult legal barrier. I just have to say that shooting someone in the head because they have a gun to their own head, I don't believe that's legal according to the Constitution.
I must have missed that amendment. Like,
because the Constitution isn't made to protect us, right? To protect the individual, right? It's supposed to be the rules of how the government operates.
Right. The Constitution is supposed to be the law for the government.
Yeah.
And supposed to be. It's fucking not. But it's supposed to be. But I mean, like, I'm feeling like, did I miss a day of school somewhere? Did I miss something where, like, just, oh no, that's, and the 11th Amendment to the Bill of Rights.
Cops can pew whoever they want.
Yeah, cops can just summarily execute anyone and everyone if they feel the need or desire to do so.
And discover post facto justification.
Yeah, and then go back and go, oh, well, I mean, he might have done this later.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, well, yeah, he had drugs in his system, that's why.
Yeah, well, it's, oh, man, and and the thing, you'll hear that all the time from these, from Trumpkins in particular. You'll hear that a lot where they're like...
Bootlickers, yeah.
Yeah, where they're like, oh, well, but he had drugs in his system, or, oh, but he...
Did he take a piss test before getting choked out?
Yeah. Exactly. Like you didn't know that though. Or oh, well he had robbed somebody at gunpoint 6 years ago. Okay. And he went to jail and then he got out. He paid his penance and he was just like walking down the fucking street. This is irrelevant. but they will find any justification they can so that their golden fucking calves can continue to sit on their big fucking pedestals, and they can pretend somehow that they're more virtuous than you because they lick at the boots of their own oppressors.
Because of their chosen profession.
Yeah.
Chosen profession.
Yeah. I fucking hate the Blue Lives Matter bull. Fuck your blue life.
Right.
You're not a fucking Smurf.
Oh, calm down, Gilgamesh. In a brief unsigned order Monday, the court turned away an appeal by the victim's mother, Arlene Gibbons, over the dissent from Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Sotomayor, one of the court's more liberal judges, said that while the factual record left some key questions unresolved, it was undisputed that the officer knew the victim, quote, suffered from mental illness and that he was holding a gun to his own temple.
Well, yeah, all you had to do was look at him and you could make that evaluation.
Yeah.
One, quote, he's holding a gun to his own temple, and two, he's probably mentally ill because non-mentally ill people don't hold guns to their own fucking temples.
Yes. Quote, I add only that qualified immunity properly shields police officers from liability when they act reasonably to protect themselves and the public. It does not protect an officer who inflicts deadly force on a person who is only a threat to themselves.
Yeah, he wasn't pointing the gun at anybody but himself. Unless your argument is that because he was schizophrenic, he was also holding the gun to other people simultaneously.
Hold on,
which seems dubious.
A federal district court sided with the victim's family in 2017, ruling that found the officer was not entitled to qualified immunity. The district judge's ruling was later reversed in April 2020 by Philadelphia-based U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. The appeals court ruled that Bartlett was entitled to qualified immunity because Gibbons, who ignored Bartlett's order to drop the gun, was, quote, easily within the range to shoot Bartlett or the other officers on the scene.
So by the nature of his proximity.
Mere presence of a firearm in proximity to the police officers was enough for this court to justify murdering this man and giving the officers qualified immunity.
See, why are more Republicans not upset about this? Because they're supposedly so pro Second Amendment and concealed carry and everything else. Well, if simply having a gun, simply the presence of a gun in proximity to an officer is enough justification for an officer to shoot you, then that means that anyone concealed carrying out and about who gets within fucking 150 feet at minimum of a cop is immediately able to be shot by that cop at that cop's will.
Yes. Because he, quote, feared for his life.
Well, it doesn't even mention that he had to fear for his life. It just mentions that he could have shot him.
Could have.
Well, he could have pointed it at him. He could have shot. Oh, okay. So we're in the Bureau of Pre-Crime now. Where are the twins? Or triplets or whatever in the pool.
Minority Report, yeah.
Yeah, like we need the little balls and everything, because apparently that's the direction we're going now. And you know, the funny thing is, when that came out, a whole lot of conservatives, like hardcore conservatives, I remember when that movie came out, pointed at it and said, see, that's the direction we're going. That's dangerous. That's wrong. I remember that happening. And now magically, they're the ones, and somewhat predictably, they're also the ones who are going, well, but I mean, you know, they're still heroes because, you know, they're protecting people by murdering innocent people having mental health crises who are a danger to no one but themselves.
Yes. In dissenting from the court's denial of Gibbons' appeal, Sotomayor said that the lower appellate court had, quote, erred by improperly resolving factual disputes in Bartlett's favor and overlooked, quote, binding precedent to conclude that he did not violate the clearly established constitutional right.
I mean, Sotomayor is a pile of shit, but
she's not wrong on this one. On this one.
Yeah, not wrong. I generally can't stand Sotomayor, and, you know, keep hoping that like maybe a meteorite will crash through her chambers and
there's supposed to be a meteor the size of a pyramid coming close to the Earth next week, so we have hope.
Come on, aim for DC, aim for DC, big money, no whammies.
That's why nobody listens to us.
Like that crashes. I'm gonna be like, all right, who had giant meteor on their apocalypse bingo card?
That would, yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, giant. I mean, if it takes out DC,
because the murder hornets didn't really pan out to be anything.
I know, that's almost disappointing. I really fucking hate most Hymenoptera. I mean, like not bees, like regular bees, honeybees and bumblebees are adorable, and I love carpenter bees.
The murder bees or murder wasps, whatever they were, they turned out to be like 2021's version of 2018, 2017, the clown sightings.
Yeah.
Now, you remember the clown sightings?
Yeah, right? Everyone made a big
like
fucking deal.
Freaking out, right? And there's the videos of the guys dressed as clowns getting beat up and all that stuff. But it didn't turn out to be anything, which again, disappointing.
Yeah, and disappointing.
So, the murder hornets again turned out to be disappointing. So I don't want to get my hopes too far up for this meteor, but
I tell you what, I vote that we create, if the meteor misses us, we create a giant, like with powerful flashlights, light show out west in the desert that says, "You ain't nothing but a bitch," to shine up into the night sky at the meteor. Come on.
E.T. was a bitch.
Yeah, like come on.
Come at me, aliens.
Yeah, like at this point, if aliens showed up, I would literally pay them to abduct me. Like, please take me with you. I don't even care. You guys can throw me in a zoo on your home planet. All right, like I'm good with that, man. I've watched the Twilight Zone episode with that. Like that doesn't look so bad. Like
Bitcoin's still up. I can probably afford to get off the planet.
Yeah, like let's go do that. It's, hey, say what you will about Jeff Bezos, but if that man's like, hey, I'm gonna found a colony on Mars and we're all gonna go and you know what? I'm there. Give me the fuck off this planet.
Flying up with an AK and a Hawaiian shirt. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's just, oh man, I'm gonna be dressed as a Tusken Raider from Star Wars.
Oh God! If you guys could see the face and what he just did, that was that was fantastic. Oh, yeah, that be a Tusken Raider.
Just show up on Mars in the full outfit and the big fucking rifle, and these blast points are way too precise for sand.
Wasn't there talk last year or earlier this year about creating a woolly mammoth?
Yeah, they were gonna try and bring him back. It's because we have a bunch that were frozen in the permafrost.
They got DNA,
Siberia.
and they're gonna Jurassic Park it.
Yeah, how could that go wrong?
And make woolly mammoths. Well, woolly mammoths on Mars, Tusken Raider.
Hey, yeah, I can totally
make it happen.
We can make a giant bantha. Come on, man, make me a bantha, and I will be a Tusken Raider, and it will be fantastic. It'll be absolutely fabulous. And as we learned in The Mandalorian, the Tusken Raiders are not nearly as primitive as people seem to think that they are. Sure. They actually have a very elaborate society and things. They're actually very intelligent.
The Tesla truck does look like a speeder with wheels.
It's got to make the right noise, though. Like, I want to be able to have it go as I go.
Well, don't the Priuses, the new Priuses, don't they have external speakers because people kept getting hit by them?
I haven't seen that yet. The thing is, so where I work, there's a really high end, it's called Java Vino. So it's both a coffee and wine shop. So you can imagine the kind of people who frequent a coffee/wine shop. The driveway for my business it goes right past it. So it's, like our parking lots are connected and there's a major thoroughfare out front. So people will pull through our driveway, especially because this is the third summer in a row they've shut down the major road to my side. But Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. But so so I get lots of vehicles that drive past me, and I get a lot of electric vehicles. And I gotta say, I go out there, because I vape and smoke, and so I go out there, and I'll be standing out there, and I will almost get hit at least once a day by an electric vehicle because I'm looking at my phone and vaping, and I don't hear it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes Teslas and Prii and that goddamn abortion from Ford that has the audacity to call itself a Mustang.
Oh,
That thing just every time I see one, I'm like, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you so much. That's my reaction is the same thing as like Richard Hammond has a reaction to the Juke, the Nissan Jukes. He absolutely despises them. So he's always like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I feel that same way. But yeah, like I get all these electric cars that drive past me, and I actually had a Fisker go past, which was kind of cool.
mm-hmm.
If you never heard of Fisker Motors,
Yeah.
they did have a little bit of a problem for a little while where the cars like kind of just burst into flames for no apparent reason. And self-immolation generally isn't something I look for in a vehicle, but I mean, some people maybe. But the that's why Ferraris and Porsches were so popular. But anyway, as they go by, all you kind of hear is this quiet
Wing. Yeah.
and that's it. And you're like, holy shit, there's a car right there.
Yep.
And it's moving like 20 miles an hour. It is so unbelievably, frighteningly quiet. I laughed. When they talked about like passing laws that forced electric vehicles to be louder. And now, having almost been hit by a bunch of them, I actually get it.
Yep.
I get why you might want to demand that, because holy shit, they're quiet.
Yeah, living here in the Bay Area, I'm only like 45 minutes from the Tesla factory. I'm an hour and change from Silicon Valley. And our freeways here, all our freeways all have hybrid or lanes specifically for hybrids or electric vehicles, right? They're called the Diamond Lane, and it's carpool lane essentially, but hybrids and electric vehicles, they could drive in them for free. And you'll be sitting in traffic, moving 10 miles an hour, and then just 50 miles an hour, you won't even hear it, and it'll just go shoof right past you, and it's a Prius, and it's doing 50, and you can't hear it at all.
Yeah, and I mean, and I don't want to say that I'm anti-electric vehicle. I fucking love electric vehicles. Right?
I love the technology.
I'm a cyberpunk fan, so like I am all about like transhumanism and electric vehicles and all this other stuff. Although cyberpunk still uses gas-powered vehicles, but I'm all about that shit. But like these electric vehicles are fucking dangerous to pedestrians, like legitimately dangerous to them, because you're not going to hear it. And I can't even imagine trying to drive down a highway at night around here, especially this time of year, October, November, when you have deer who are not going to hear you coming.
Just imagine driving around Area 51, and there's just a pair of headlights coming up from your rearview mirror, and you can't hear it, and it just goes shoof around you, and all you see are tail lights, and you're just like, damn aliens.
Yeah, it's fucking, I mean, in contrast, right, my truck is
loud as fuck.
Really loud. It's a Hemi. It's doesn't have a muffler. It's a very loud motor. I mean, any Hemi is going to be loud. And I roll on 35-inch MT tires, so they're quite
rumble.
loud. Yeah, it sounds like a very large swarm of angry bees as I drive along. And I have never even seen a deer while in my truck, even on very middle of nowhere highways, because you can hear that thing coming from about a mile away. So I don't even have to worry about it. Like, I ain't got to sweat it, man. I can't actually drive on the interstate because of the tires, because they're so wide. Centrifugal force causes a weird rise in the center of the tire, and so your truck actually physically gets higher and your contact pitch gets smaller. Yeah. So you start to get a little wonky with no, not doing that. Anything over about 60 miles an hour, we ain't doing that with that truck. But I don't have to go fast. I can go wherever the fuck I want. So that's what's important with my truck. But like, I don't see any deer with that. But can you imagine if you were so quiet that even a human could be standing next to it and not notice it? Like, can you imagine driving down the highway at 60 miles an hour? You're going to hit every fucking deer possible, because they're never going to hear you coming. Jesus. Christ.
All right. How about we go from deer to zebras?
Zebras. I love me some zebras. You know, there's a zonkey. A lot of people don't know that.
Yes.
Zonkey. So it's a donkey, wild donkey, and zebra hybrid. They kind of look like a donkey, but a little more horse-like, and they have stripes only on their back legs. It's kind of neat.
Yes. A month later, 5 zebras are still on the run in Maryland.
Run, save yourselves, go.
Yes. They're still out there roaming free. A month after they escaped from a farm in Maryland, 5 zebras have evaded capture and are continuing to ramble across the wilds of suburban Prince George County, eking out a living on territory far from the grasslands of East Africa. And there have been no shortage of sightings. Josh Dubois, who led the White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnership under President Barack Obama, said on Twitter that after his son claimed to have seen the zebras, he did a U-turn, pulled into, quote, some guy's driveway, and spotted them in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, about 20 miles southeast of Washington. Well, bam! Wild Maryland zebras, Mr. Dubois wrote on Twitter next to a video that he posted showing the zebra trotting along a tree line.
Yes, nature is healing.
Linda Pinnier, the mayor of the town of Upper Marlboro, said the zebras have become local celebrities. Their every move documented on social media.
And yet they still can't fucking catch them.
No. Quote, it's odd seeing zebras crossing the road, Miss Pinnier said, adding, quote, there are worse things to be running around Upper Marlboro, like alligators.
Well, yeah, but the alligators would also be gone come the winter. Zebras might be able to overwinter.
Yeah. The zebras have been on the run since August 31st, when they somehow escaped from a privately owned farm in Upper Marlboro, according to Rodney Taylor, chief of the Prince George County Animal Services Division.
Oh, that farmer is pissed. That ain't cheap, man.
Yeah, they were part of a zeal. That is a bunch of zebras.
Really? A bunch of zebras is called a zeal?
Yes.
Of
39 zebras that had been brought into farm from Florida in mid-August, Mr. Taylor said he was not sure why the farm owner, whom he identified as Jerry Hawley, had been keeping zebras, but he said that they were not part of a zoo or other exhibit.
What was he keeping them for? Skins?
I know. Mr. Hawley said license from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to keep zebras. Department records indicate that the farm has a variety of animals as recently as 2018, including black-handed spider monkeys, dromedaries, mandrills, red kangaroos, brown leapers, caprias, and gibbons. We need to meet this guy.
Yeah, he sounds like he's got a pretty cool fucking place.
This guy sounds like he knows how to party.
Yeah, he sounds like a pretty cool place. I mean, gibbons are neat. The monkeys, not a big fan of monkeys. Little bastards.
Yeah, after the zebras got loose, the farm had planned to capture them by luring them into a corral baited with grain. The corral was rigged with a gate that would swing shut, trapping the escapees. But the zebras have proven to be a wily bunch, foiling the effort week after week.
Dude, and people got to remember, too, that zebras are not horses.
No.
Okay, the horse that when you picture a horse, yeah, they kind of look the same, but they are a distinct variety, a distinct species from the average horse, much more closely related to wild asses than they are to domestic horses. They are really, much like wild asses, really smart.
Yes.
So they're like, nope.
Yeah, Daniel Rubinstein, professor of zoology at Princeton University, said he was not surprised that the zebras have proven so elusive. Unlike domesticated horses, they will return to the barn after they've gotten loose. Zebras are wild animals and generally don't like people. And they may not have any need to feed on grain set out for them as bait if they can find enough food to munch elsewhere.
And they're adapted to the Serengeti, right? So they're adapted to be able to eat kind of like really, really nasty things, because that's like where acacia and inefficient
food.
Yeah, so they can pretty much eat everything that's out there. It's probably even more healthy for them than what they were eating in the Serengeti.
Let's see. If the zebras continue to lead capture, they should be able to do just fine. That is according to Prince George County's Dr. Rubinstein. He said, the county has plenty of lawns, fields, and pastures where the zebras can graze, as well as streams and other places for them to drink water, which they need to do so only about once a day.
Can you imagine if Maryland winds up with a feral population of fucking zebras?
Yeah,
That is amazing.
And with the dearth of lions in the greater Washington area, they have no natural predators, he said, adding, quote, coyotes they can deal with.
Yeah, because they'll kick them in the face. They're used to dealing with lions and hyenas, and a coyote ain't shit next to either one of those. So these things are just gonna.
No.
I mean, if they start breeding, oh man, zebra hunt in Maryland. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Cheney's in the group. No, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Blam. No, he only shoots his own lawyer. And I can't fault Cheney for shooting a lawyer.
Yeah, yeah. There's no real. While zebras, quote, won't like snow, they may be able to survive colder weather in the fall and winter. Zebras, he said, live on the slopes of Mount Kenya at 13,000 feet, where temperatures at night dip into the 30s.
Yeah,
he said they should be able to thrive quite nicely. They will able to sustain themselves naturally on the landscape.
That's gonna be fucking.
I hope they stay free.
Yeah, this is fucking cool shit. I mean, like, I ecologically.
I mean, there's them just chilling in the wild, hanging out, eating food, eating grass.
I mean, so like wild horses, right, are not actually a thing in the United States and in all of North America. Horses are not native. So the wild horse populations that all these horse girls and stuff love to just think are just so majestic and amazing. Remember, they're actually feral animals. They've been here, what, 600 years, pushing on 600 years,
something like that.
Yeah, they've been here a long time. So if they're going to have a massive ecological impact, they would have by now, and they haven't so far. But we've never really had a wild zebra population in Maryland.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to end up like the wild boars, in the South or anything.
Well, I feel like we have humans anyway.
We have boars here in the Bay Area now.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I hate wild boars. I absolutely hate wild boars. I will happily hunt wild boars every chance I get. One, because it's really fun. Two, because I get a lot of really good meat that if you know how to prepare it is great, and leather. And three, because while feral hogs are an ecological apocalypse, rivaled only by feral cats. Yeah, all your domestic cats that you guys let roam around and everything, they're an apocalypse for local ecology. They are horrible. They slaughter songbirds, they slaughter frogs, small snakes, all sorts of things. They absolutely destroy ecology. That's part of the reason why New Zealand and Australia have so many problems with their ecology is stray dogs and cats.
It's funny you should say that because that's a really good segue.
Ooh, see, I'm full of segues
about killing things and underreported and disaster.
Yeah.
More than half of police killings in the U.S. are unreported in government data.
Jesus fuck, and the reported shit is like still insane.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So more than half of police killings in the U.S. are not reported in official government data. That is according to a new study released Thursday. An estimated 55% of deaths from police violence from 1980 to 2018 were misclassified or unreported in official vital statistics, according to a peer-reviewed study by a group of more than 90 collaborators in The Lancet, one of the world's oldest and most renowned medical journals.
55% over the course of 38 years.
Yes. And previous studies have found similar rates of underreporting, but the new paper is one of the longest study periods to date. Yeah, researchers compared the data from the U.S. National Vital Statistics System, an intergovernmental system that collates all death certificates, to 3 open source databases on fatal police violence, that is fatal encounters, mapping police violence, and accounting. The database collects information from news reports and public record requests. So researchers estimate official government data did not report 17,100 deaths from police violence out of 30,800 total deaths during the nearly 40-year period, speculating the gap is a result of mixture of clerical error and more insidious motivations.
Clerical error seems unlikely for a lot of those. Maybe in the 80s. 80s and 90s, I guess I could see, but for at least the past 20 years.
80s and 90s, in my own mind, I can at least make a justification for clerical errors because that was before the computer systems were really the basis. Yeah, right? So everything was handwritten and hand calculated and all that other stuff. So I can understand some sort of clerical error then. But
yeah, for the past 20 years, though, I mean, even in the late 90s, I mean, like the late 90s was the rise of
I was learning computers in high school, so
yeah,
I'm a graduate in 98.
Yeah, I graduated in 05, and I can remember being in freaking elementary school. Yeah, it would have been elementary school here. Elementary school, and remembering like where I can remember getting taught how to use a computer.
Yeah,
then.
6th grade, it was a required class at Riverview Middle School. So 6th grade for me would have been 92, 91, 92.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, in the late 90s, for sure, there's no excuse for that. In the 2000s, you know, after the turn of the century, there is definitely no excuse for that.
Once Y2K didn't kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, after the turn of the century, which is now, I mean, when you're talking about to 2018, that's, you know, that's 18 years. That certainly, there's no excuse. So, like, clerical error, maybe some of it, but I would guess that the majority of it, not so much.
Yeah, then there's some race-based stuff. I don't really want to get into that. I will say that during the period, non-Hispanic Black Americans were estimated to be 3.5 times more likely to die from police violence than non-Hispanic White Americans, with nearly 60% of the deaths misclassified, meaning they are not attributed to police violence in official government data.
Okay, so government data misclassified 50% of deaths of Hispanic people, 56% of deaths of non-Hispanic white people, and 33% of deaths of non-Hispanic people of other races.
Yes.
50%. 56%. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
That's not an accident. You don't misclassify the majority of these deaths accidentally.
Here's one for you. From the 1980s to 2010s, rates of police violence increased by 38% for all races.
Yep. And what happened? What would have been happening about there? You're talking about a decade, right? Since we went into Iraq and Afghanistan. Oh. Well, we went into Iraq in 03, we went into Afghanistan in 01, but about a decade, pushing on a decade, which means that all these people who went in for 3 to 6 year stints, they're all getting out, they're all coming home, and they're all going where? Straight to the police force.
Yes. The top 5 states with the highest underreporting rates were Oklahoma, Wyoming, Alabama, Louisiana, and Nebraska. The researchers found the states with the highest mortality rate of police violence: Oklahoma, Washington, D.C., Arizona, Alaska, Nevada, and Wyoming.
And one of the things that I notice in here.
See, I just gotta point this out. With the rate is what they're talking about. Rate. Wyoming has like 500,000 people, so like 1 or 2 or 10 is a larger percentage than that percentage would be here in California.
Yep. So. I also want to point out that it does mention non-Hispanic indigenous people were estimated to be 1.8 times more likely to die from police violence.
Natives, man.
That's, I mean, and it's a theme in the United States and Canada. It's a thing here where.
Well, it's something that Lindsay and I have talked about. Your girlfriend Lindsay. It's something that we've talked about with Native violence and the amount of capital crime or non-capital crimes that happen on reservation land that are not included in federal government data, because only capital crimes count on federal data when it comes to violence on reservations because of the Sovereign Territory Act or whatever it is. So anything that's not classified as a capital crime on the reservation land doesn't actually count in federal data. So there's a lot of abuse that happens on reservation land that doesn't get included in data like this.
Well, yeah, Lindsay grew up, and anybody who's listening or watching who doesn't know, Lindsay grew up on reservation, Ojibwe reservation here in Wisconsin. I'm Cherokee. She's Ojibwa.
I'm majority Choctaw.
Yeah, so like that for me, that really ticks me off. That's actually something our friend Cheryl is really, really big about. She's the anarchist model, I think she goes by. She's up in Canada. That's something she's really, really big on. She's always talking about and stuff. And she's talked about that and about the abuses in Canada are no better than they are in the United States. It's the same kind of level there. Despite the fact that their current piece of shit in charge tries to pretend that he cares so much about the First Nations. Canada has exactly the same history of abuse of natives as the United States does. And it just keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going largely under the radar because they keep underreporting it intentionally. And the abuse of police of everyone in general keeps getting worse and worse and worse because it keeps intentionally getting underreported, because if everyone actually knew how bad it was, they'd be up in arms already.
Yep. Here's one for you. The researchers cited a 2011 survey of the National Association of Medical Examiner members that found 22% of respondents reported having been pressured by an elected official or appointee to change cause or manner of death on a certificate. That is 1/5 of doctors, of medical examiners, of nurses, etc., that admitted to being pressured by police, by government officials, etc., to change the medical report to not include police violence as part of the medical report.
Well, think about
and again,
George Floyd and Derek Chauvin.
22% admitted to being pressured.
Admitted that it had happened. Think it's probably closer to 40-50% when you consider unreported. And I mean, like, again, think about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin. How easy would it have been? Because as it was, even though it was on video of Chauvin choking him to death, there were still a lot of neocons that were arguing, well, but he was on drugs at the time, so maybe the drugs did it. How easy would it have been, had that not been on video, for that to have simply become, oh, he actually died because he had a fatal reaction because of the position he was in with his drugs that he had taken, and that's what killed him. It had nothing to do with the cops.
No.
How easy would it have been to do that?
Yeah, quote, currently the same government responsible for this violence is also responsible for reporting it. Open source data is a more reliable and comprehensive resource to help inform policies that can prevent police violence and save lives.
I don't know about saving lives or preventing police violence, but at least getting people to wake up to it. Until people are willing to put boot to ass over it, I don't think that anybody's going to be saving anything, regardless of how much they know about how bad the cops are. You got to do something with that knowledge.
Yes.
Clearly suing them isn't going to work because they have qualified fucking immunity.
There's a link in this article of 8 myths about why police need to protect the public. Qualified immunity. I'm not going to click on that link because I'm already angry enough. So,
these fucking bootleggers. I mean, even within that, they're still licking fucking boots.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug, man.
Yeah.
That's Jesus.
Yeah, Eve Wool, the lead author and researchers for the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation, said the rise is evidence that efforts to prevent police violence and address systemic racism, such as body-worn cameras and de-escalation and impact bias training for officers, have, quote, largely been ineffective.
Gosh.
What?
Yeah, it's because
my shocked face.
Yeah, I mean, you can train somebody how to de-escalate situations all fucking day, but they have to want to use that training.
It's
if
a
they
tool,
don't want to use it, they won't. And the reality is that the culture of American police, in particular in the world, American police, is to shoot first and ask questions later. That is their culture.
Well, the culture. The culture is a result of their training, right?
Well, yeah, but it's
not
just
okay,
police
it's not only the
training.
result of their training. It's a result. It's the young cops come in, the old cops teach. The old cops create the culture that the young cops adapt to.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it's the same with the FUD culture, same with politics. We're seeing it huge right now. No more rich old white guys, right? But then they vote for rich old white guys. But
yeah, then they elect rich old fucking white guys.
But the politicians are getting younger and younger and younger, right? I mean, but the culture hasn't changed because there's still these old fuddy-duddies that are still running everything. Same with the police. It's same with a lot of industries, a lot of government agencies and all this other bullshit. So
well, yeah, that's a push with with my company to try and change the culture of our industry and stuff, because there are still so many old guard in it and stuff. And that was that was one of the things that I noticed. Remember the whole thing that turned me to anarchism? That was one of the things that I noticed, where like as soon as I'm like, everyone wants me because I'm this young, energetic guy and I have this great background, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a libertarian, and that's against all of the old school GOP shit. So they don't want anything to do with me anymore because they're still hanging around. These boomers are still hanging around. And if you think that once they all die, things will get better, I got bad news for you, because the problem is by that point, they will have indoctrinated the next generation. Gen X will have been indoctrinated and are now in charge.
Yep. And then they'll be teaching the Zoomers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they'll be teaching the Zoomers because the millennials will be like, fuck that shit, because we bridge that gap and recognize all of this horse shit and go, fuck you all. But the Zoomers are so preoccupied with their fucking pumpkin spice lattes and their TikToks and whatever else and their viewer counts and things that they don't bother to go, but wait a minute. They don't bother to question anything. And it's because so many, and that's a failure, that's a failure of my generation. That's a failure of your generation. That's a failure of Gen X. That's a failure of the millennials, where as the Zoomers have been cut, none of us has bothered to take them under our wing and explain, hey, you need to disregard all of the horse shit you're being fed hard enough to wake them up.
My daughter wears "Don't Tread on Me" shirts past the safe space at the community college. just putting that out there.
Nice. Yeah. See, like my kid's gonna grow up, and my kid's I guess still a Zoomer technically. Like 09 makes him a Zoomer, right? Yeah, that'd be Zoomer still. My kid, my oldest is a Zoomer, and I would assume so are the younger two. But they, the younger two, I don't have any way to affect because they're an organ. But my oldest, she's gonna grow up understanding, from me very much that fuck the government, fuck the feds, don't ever trust the media, question everything, trust no one.
So, all right, you want to go into more police stuff?
Oh, apparently that's the theme of the episode, man.
Well, we got 2 police ones and then a funny one, and then we get to talk about secession again.
Yeah, I feel like this episode should be like FTP Go Zebras. Like
hashtag free the zebras.
Yeah, that's support the stripey boys. That's
let's go this one. This was a fun one. Austin police no longer responding to non-life threatening 911 calls.
Because it's not their obligation to protect you.
No, it's because of staffing shortages.
Well, but I'm saying they can choose to do that. Because it's not their obligation to protect you.
Yeah, they'll still pull you over for busted taillight.
Yeah, it's their obligation to punish you.
But if you got a burglar in your house and your life's not being threatened, they'll tell you to go online and fill out a report.
But without police, who would show up 25 minutes after you were robbed write down a bunch of shit on paper and then never do anything again.
One of the great trends on TikTok right now is there's an audio clip, and it's two guys arguing, and the one guy goes, I heard someone broke in, and the other guy goes, yeah, it's not an issue, and the other guy goes, why didn't you call the cops? And the second guy goes, why would I want them to know he was here?
Exactly. There's that meme that I made a couple of years ago with the guy loading a pistol mag, and it's from like underneath. It's looking up at him, and it says POV from the guy who tried to break into your house after he's been shot twice, asking you why you don't just call the police, and he's going, why? No one knows you're here.
Why would I want them to be involved?
I don't want them involved. I have my own plans.
Yes.
Guess what? I don't work tomorrow. It's gonna be fun for one of us.
Just putting KY on the blue gun. In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yes.
The Austin Police Department is saying they won't be responding to non-life-threatening 911 calls. Starting Friday, Austin sworn police officers will no longer be responding in person to non-emergency calls because of the severe staffing shortages, according to APD.
I'm very happy that they have staffing shortages for police departments.
Yes. The announcement comes after the Harris County Sheriff's Deputies Organization in Houston warned residents that if they were, quote, robbed, raped, or shot to, quote, or unless they were, quote, robbed, raped, or shot, to, quote, hold their breath and pray because they might not have the personnel to respond.
Jesus. So wait.
That if they were, quote, robbed, raped, or shot, to hold their breath and pray because they might not have the personnel to respond.
And yet, if you respond yourself efficiently, they will still respond to that in order to throw you in prison. Yes.
The Austin no response announcement includes vehicle collisions with no injuries and burglaries no longer in progress, or where the suspect has fled the scene. Instead of calling 911, residents are being told to call 311 to file a non-emergency police report. The APD spokesman told Fox News that while a sworn officer might not respond in person, a civilian officer, like a crime scene technician, might. Not will. Might.
I see a business opportunity developing in Austin.
Yes.
Well, looks like I'm relocating Iron Harvest Tactical.
Agorist Protection Services.
Yeah, it's I will do full crime scene investigation. I will hunt down your attacker. I will respond within just a few minutes if possible. And I don't have a jail, so
I got duct tape. There's plenty of trees.
What I have is a loaded weapon. And if somebody's trying to rape you, I don't even fucking care. Police can arrest me for this. If somebody wants to fucking rape you and you call me and like, hey, somebody's trying to rape me, you know what? I'm going to show up and I'm going to put a round through their fucking eyeball. So
I'll put a round through their ass cheek and put them down, then hand you the gun and let you put it through their eyeball.
I mean, it depends on what the situation calls for. Or, you cuff them, you take them to an abandoned warehouse, and, whatever happens after that, who knows? Who can say? You have to find a body.
So everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical in Minecraft.
Saying you gotta have a body to prove anybody's dead.
The department, quote, regularly reviews response policies and procedures to ensure APD prioritizes calls with an immediate threat to life or property over non-emergency calls and services. The staffing shortages and inability to respond to non-life-threatening 911 calls is a direct result of Austin City Council's defunding of the APD last year, cutting $150 million of its budget and other changes that were implemented affecting how the department operates.
150
Fucking
million.
fantastic. Thank you, Austin City Council.
Yeah. 150 million. Why did the police department need a budget of over $150 million?
They should do a study on how many less dogs are killed this year as opposed to last year.
Yeah, by cops in Austin. Yeah. How many fewer people are killed this year than last year as a result of this? I mean, and the reality is that, these cops are trying to do this. And I guarantee you that the reason that, news talks about this, the reason the cops are trying to do this is because they're trying to go, you see what happens. But the reality is, even when they were properly funded, how long did it take the average Austin police officer to respond? Were they going to save you? Probably fucking not.
I think, let's see what they were saying. They were saying here that 911 times, they were bragging that 911 times were down to, I think, 12 minutes or something like that. Or it used to be 21 minutes.
Well, an awful lot can happen in 12 fucking minutes.
It used to be 21.
Jesus.
But Austin Police Association President Ken Cassidy told Fox News that APD hasn't been able to hire new officers because it hasn't been able to have a police academy for nearly 2 years. As a result, there aren't enough patrol officers to respond to non-emergency calls.
Wow.
Because of COVID, they can't have police academies, apparently.
And who's
so thank you, COVID. Thank you, Austin Police Department.
It's you know how I'm feeling right now. I think you've seen the meme that I did a little while ago about COVID and the that.
Yes.
Go COVID.
Quote, probably about 95% of the time our shifts don't meet minimum staffing. And that is the reason they've started cutting back on what type of calls are answered, Cassidy said. Quote, it's not optimal. It's not providing a quality service to the community, but the community also needs to understand that we're under a dire staffing crisis.
Quality service.
They didn't provide a quality service to begin with. Like we talked about one a couple months ago where they called out the MRAPs and had a helicopter and SWAT and all that stuff out there for a lady in a car on the bridge. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
And it was over that she had a warrant for something, or like a parking ticket or some bullshit warrant.
Yeah. But we can't provide the quality service. It's, and I laughed even at the time. Like, if you've ever seen the second Aladdin movie, the second Disney animated Aladdin movie, where Genie responds, Aladdin and the King of Thieves, where Genie responds, and it's just all of these, like, just this absurd amount of, like, SWAT team members and helicopters and all these things that show up, and they circle just his dad, and they're all pointing guns at each other. Do not attempt to move, or we will be shooting ourselves. That was essentially that incident. It was ridiculous. It was all those resources. But hey, you know what? If you're being raped or robbed or something, like, you're just going to have to pray because we just don't have enough money, man. But this lone lady that was on a bridge with a warrant gets helicopters and like a fucking APC and all this other shit responding. Yeah.
Let's see. The woman has been, so the incident I was referring to was a year ago, July 2020. No charges filed. It's a woman has been questioned, released, and faces no charges after the Texas Department of Public Safety said she barricaded herself in her vehicle on the South First Street Bridge in downtown Austin after pursuit. The registration for her vehicle came back stolen. That's what it was. And then let's see. Despite our efforts, in 45 minutes, there's no response for the driver. And no attempt for the driver to exit the vehicle. After numerous attempts from APD SWAT, the driver finally complied with commands to exit the vehicle without further incident. We read something from her that was written by her, and they were talking about they had SWAT. They fired tear gas.
Nice.
They had a helicopter up. They had the MRAPs out.
Yeah, that is an efficient use of resources. But hey, we can't afford to actually respond to somebody being raped or robbed. Crimes with actual fucking victims. But I guarantee you, if a cop encounters you and you're smoking weed on the street, he's still gonna fucking arrest you.
Oh yeah. No. Fucking just crazy shit, man. Like, let's see. After the city council cut funding last year, by July, response times to 9/11 calls were 20 to 30 minutes longer on average.
Longer. Imagine even just 30 minutes for a response. Imagine if you called. So if you're being robbed, right? Somebody's pointing a gun at you.
The APD is losing 15 to 20 officers a month.
Got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, those are rookie numbers, all right? You got to pump those numbers up.
Oh.
This, yeah, I mean, and the reality is, right, between Warren v. DC, what are some of the other ones? There's Warren v. DC, there was, hang on, I have that list handy. What a coincidence.
Warren versus DC, Castle Rock.
Castle Rock v. Gonzalez. Descheny v. Winnebago.
Winnebago. There's also one here in Alameda County.
Yep. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School parents.
Yes.
All of the Broward County Sheriff's Department. All of these are Supreme Court decisions, and all of these establish and reaffirm that the police are under absolutely no obligation whatsoever to ever protect you, ever.
I think that the ruling in Heller was that the police have no obligation or duty, or no constitutional obligation or duty to protect you.
That was the Warren v. DC. Unless a pre-established relationship exists, the police are under absolutely no constitutional obligation to provide protection to the individual. However, that has been expanded because in parents of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School at all the Broward County Sheriff's Department, the Broward County Sheriff's Department did have a prior relationship, an established relationship as an SRO, as an SRO at the school.
SRO,
school resource officer,
security resource officer.
Yeah. So they had an established obligation to provide protection, still failed to do so, and the court still said, nope, they're not required to actually protect you.
Yep.
So even with an actual signed contract where money has changed hands, the police are still under no obligation to actually protect you ever. They have no obligation to help you. None whatsoever. None.
Don't forget, police also sued for the right to not hire high IQ applicants.
Yeah.
And won.
On the grounds that it would make them unwilling to follow orders.
Yes. So they're dumb and don't have to protect you.
And those are the people that all these fucking idiots want to sit there and dry hump their legs and go, "You're such heroes." Those are the people. Are you fucking kidding me?
All right. Let's jump onto something funnier.
Oh no, I guarantee you there are people listening who are cackling away right now.
Let's Go Brandon declares war on showerheads.
Let's go, Brandon.
So President Joe Biden may lack authority to reach into your shower and turn the dial down in order to save water. Still, he is doing all he can to declare war on high-pressure showerheads.
I feel like we should explain that to anybody who doesn't know, because I've seen a lot of it on Twitter.
No,
where people don't know.
Actually, I had one of the people in one of the Telegram chats ask me about it today, and like, come on, bro, you're supposed to be a meme guy.
Google shit. Look up NASCAR races.
All you got to do is look up Let's Go Brandon.
Yeah, Let's Go Brandon.
Fox News actually wrote an article about how it's, quote, taken over social media.
Yeah, because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because you want to talk about how obvious the mass media is doing damage control and as a propaganda wing for the Biden administration in particular, if not government in general. The fact that they're all chanting "fuck Joe Biden" and they're chanting "Let's Go Brandon." It's so great.
There was a "Let's Go Brandon" sign behind one of the commentators on the pregame show for CBS college football on Saturday.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that shit. That was fucking amazing. Yes.
Second greatest sign behind the taxation is theft one, but it's getting there.
Yeah, I almost want a t-shirt that just says "Let's Go
Brandon." Yeah. The Department of Energy has proposed a regulatory change reversing a Trump measure that allowed more powerful showers. The language used to defend the action invokes climate change as well as water conservation as justification. This long regulatory saga,
good of others is the known excuse of tyrants.
It's just this is how petty your fucking government is, you guys. The long regulatory saga started with the 1992 Energy Policy Act. Slipped into this massive energy bill were a few water-related provisions, most regrettably the mandate that allows most regrettably the mandate for those awful low flush toilets, but also a 2.5 gallon per minute water limit for showerheads.
Well, in those toilets, Wisconsin is notorious with those toilets. And I'll tell you why. Because Canada doesn't have that regulation. And we made national news multiple times over the years because people from Wisconsin will hop on a little boat and we will hop across a little lake you may have heard of called Superior. It's the largest freshwater lake in the world. We'll hop over there and then we will grab a bunch of toilets that we've bought in Canada with the higher flush rates, bring them back to Wisconsin, and then sell them to people so that we all still get our nice, efficient, actually working fucking toilets.
Hey, low flush uses more because you got to flush twice.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a protein consumer, you guys.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, to put in perspective just how bad they are. I had in my store when I first got my store, I had in the bathroom a nice old, probably mid 1990s high flush toilet.
Oh,
it broke on me and they couldn't get new parts for it. Irritating because they said they couldn't get new parts. I suspect they actually could because I found them on Amazon, but they said they couldn't get new parts. So they replaced the toilet with a brand new one. The other day, my new employee complained that it wouldn't even move toilet paper with its flush, that the toilet paper just sat there, and how ridiculous that was. That's how weak these fucking things are because government.
Yes. Low flush toilet too, but the statute was unclear on how the law applied to fixtures with more than one shower head. Would the 2.5 gallon per minute maximum apply to each nozzle or the entire unit? For the next 20 years, the former interpretation applied. Thus, multi-headed shower heads that exceeded 2.5 gallons per minute overall remained on the market for the relative few consumers who wanted them. Then in 2013, the Obama Department of Energy regulations eliminated what it characterized as a, quote, loophole, clarifying that the entire shower, no matter how many nozzles, could not exceed 2.5 gallons per minute in total.
Fuck you, stop me.
President Donald Trump disagreed. No doubt our only president to own thousands of showers given all his hotels. Hyperbole over weak showers became a punchline at many of his rallies. Quote, if you're like me, you can't wash your beautiful hair properly, he said.
Trump.
His DOE, Department of Energy, reversed Obama's change in December 2020. Now the Biden Department of Energy has initiated the process of repealing the Trump revision. It would revert back to Obama's 2.5 gallons per minute overall cap.
So if you're planning on redoing your showers or your bathroom in the near future, do it now.
Do it now, yeah.
Before that fuckface has an opportunity to fucking ruin it.
Yes, or learn how to open the thingy and remove the little washer. And
Well, I mean, you can still buy
hashtag not legal advice.
You can still buy, like, you can go. Habitat for Humanity runs all sorts of stores that sell reclaimed plumbing from houses and things, and you also get to support a wonderful cause.
That's where
you do that.
That's where we got our standard size toilet.
Yeah, so go to Habitat for Humanity, find the actual showers that work, and use those.
Yes. Supporters of the Biden proposal, including an army of efficiency activists, argue that the very few people who want showers blasting more than 2.5 gallons per minute. But they also argue that if Trump's change is allowed to stand, it would lead to dangerous increase in water usage. Some activists even invoke the drought out west as a cause for tighter limits.
Okay, let me explain something to you real quick, because I hear this a lot.
The water in your shower is recycled.
First of all,
out
yes.
Of the shower, down the drain, into the sewer, to the treatment plant, where it's filtered and put back into the fucking system.
Yeah, not only that, but here's the thing: is they're pointing to a place that inherently has less water as the reason for these regulations.
Yes,
I live in Wisconsin.
I average only, I think, 12.4 inches of rain per year.
Right.
Where I'm at in the Bay Area.
I average more precipitation than that in a month in Wisconsin. I have the two largest freshwater lakes on planet Earth, Superior and Michigan, bordering me. One of the largest rivers in the world, I think the fourth largest river in the world, the largest in North America, the Mississippi, bordering me. I have more lakes in my state than Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, does. There is so much water here. My city that I live in is known as the City of Seven Rivers, and that's because the number sounded good. There's actually 16 rivers within a 30-mile distance of me. We have so much water, it's ridiculous. And you want to apply the same regulations to us that you want to apply to California?
Yes. And you guys also have the humidity factor too, which helps with helps with water retention. We don't we don't have the humidity.
Yeah, we average like between a 40 and 70% humidity pretty much all year. The main exception being January, because it's usually so cold that you just have ice crystals floating in the air.
Yeah, the only time that we have high humidity is when it's foggy.
Yeah. Like, and you want to apply the same laws to here as there and use there as justification. I have 350,000 times.
That's right. That's going to cause the balkanization of the United States. Fucking showerheads.
Dude, if that happens, that'd be fucking amazing. I remember when we had to have the same showers as California.
Reverse carpetbaggers going back east.
Yeah.
I hear they got 4 gallon per minute showers back there.
Yeah, I mean, it's our showers can use whatever because it doesn't fucking matter because we have so much fucking water. We get multiple feet of snow every winter. We get freaking 30 feet of flooding is our biggest natural disaster here. Flooding,
earthquakes, and fires.
Well, we get earthquakes
which were started the big fire here, the Dixie Fire, or not the Dixie Fire, but the one up by Shasta, whose name I can't recall the name of the fire, but it was started by a woman who was boiling bear urine for a potion that she was making.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
She started multiple fires here in Oregon because she's a little loopy, but
yeah, but I mean, like,
yeah,
she
was boiling bear
that
urine.
That is the West Coast all over. But
not entirely wrong.
That is West Coast.
Yeah.
But we here we have so much water. How can you apply that same logic here? You can't go, but we need to conserve water. No, we fucking don't. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much water? Lake Superior is so big, it's an inland freshwater sea. Ever heard of the Edmund Fitzgerald? Guess where that went down and disappeared for 30 years.
You guys got big ass sturgeon in there too.
Giant sturgeon. We have our sturgeon days. If you've never eaten sturgeon, I'm telling you, you're missing out. It's delicious.
They make good fish sticks.
Oh, sturgeon's damn good. But I mean, we have the Mississippi, we have Lake Superior, we have Lake Michigan, we have 15 to 20,000 other lakes. We have all these rivers.
I bet you guys still have plastic straws too.
Yeah, we do. We fucking do. Yeah, I mean we have all of this water. You cannot apply the same logic to here that you're going to apply in Arizona and New Mexico and Nevada and California. You can't do it. Hell, even on the West Coast, you can't apply the same logic to Southern California, and to the rainforest of Oregon and Washington.
Yep.
You can't, it's a completely different environment. The water conditions are entirely different. And you want to use that as justification? It makes no sense.
It's so bad, man. It's so it's petty. It's petty. It's absolutely fucking petty. This is up there with Alabama's tax on dildos. Like, or I'm sorry, not sexual AIDS is what they call it. They have a tax on sexual AIDS.
Well, yeah, because it's interfering with the people getting action from their cousins. Fucking Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you could not pay me enough to move back to the American South. I'm just saying. No offense to people who live in the American South.
You probably could, but there would be like several commas in that check.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, everyone has their price, and I have proven over the course of my lifetime that I will do an awful lot for money.
What's that meme floating around? Would you be gay for an hour for $1 billion? Sign me up.
I can relax, breathe deep.
for $1 billion?
For $1 billion? Yeah. Hey.
Tax free?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
That's just
you
close your eyes and
you know how many pre-86s that'll buy?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's
you could literally buy your own FFL and then type through everything.
Yeah, I could get my SOT 2 back and finally go back to that. It's well, not only that, actually SOT 2s don't cost that much, it just take a lot of time. But anyway, no, it's I could actually shop at RIA, Rock Island Auction. For that kind of money, finally.
Let's see. Trade associations representing showerhead makers also oppose the Trump measure and now support Biden's revision, but manufacturers do so out of self-interest. They had stopped making the high-volume showers and don't want to undertake the cost of reintroducing them, nor do they want to risk losing even a little bit of the market share to any competitor who does. Several manufacturers also strive to convey a green image and think their support for the water restrictions will burnish it. Overall, the freedom of showers is pro-consumer, not pro-business.
Well, yeah, the thing is, so here's the thing, is when you're talking about like what they just talked about, recognize this isn't about these industries supporting it. These industry leaders aren't supporting it because they think it's a good idea. It's because it's about protectionism. It's about protecting their market. It's
the same way with Amazon. When Amazon said that they come out and supported the $15 an hour thing, they didn't do it for their own employees. They didn't do it for Amazon. They did it because they knew it would hurt their competitors, Walmart and Target.
Yep, exactly. And that's and these and there's so many socialists and communists and just status galore who want to go, well, but living wage, but you don't understand the companies who are supporting this stuff, they don't give a fuck about their employees. They don't give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about the fact that they can wield government as a weapon in order to stifle competition, which is something, people love to point to, say, the railroads, right? Remember the railroads, the turn of the last century.
The original roads.
Yeah, they'll talk about those railroads, and they'll talk about how, well, the railroad companies, could do all this stuff and they could do all these terrible things and everything. And you see, this is unbridled capitalism, except it has nothing to fucking do with capitalism and everything to do with they were using government to protect them. They were using government to protect them from their competitors. They were using government to verify that they would be the only ones who could build track in this place, in this way, and everything else. They leveraged it to their advantage, and government was all too fucking happy to get on their fucking knees and suck their dick like a fucking desperate choir boy.
Yep. That's why union protests work so well.
Yeah.
I remember God, what is the name of that movie where they created the garbage union in New Jersey, New York in the 1970s? I don't remember the name of the movie, but they the garbage used to be done by independent contractors, right? And it was a bunch of independent people, like you would have to subscribe to a service, and then this guy would pick up the trash in this neighborhood, and somebody else would pick up the trash in the other neighborhood, and that's the way it worked. Well, the mobsters came in and essentially got all of them to agree through one degree or another, one method or another, got them all to agree to join this union, and then create this big conglomeration that to pick up all the so the garbage was under like 1 billion, so it was under like one protection agency, and then they wanted more money.
Yep.
So they stopped, and garbage piled up, and the government's like, okay, here's some more money.
Yep. It's all about, it's not about serving the consumer. It's about them. That is not capitalism, right? Capitalism, in order to succeed in capitalism,
free market,
you have to serve your fellow man to your best ability and have to do it better than others. This is corporatism. This is fascism. This is protectionism.
All right, now that Andrew's all wound up over showerheads, 52% of Trump's voters want red states to secede from the union.
I support this.
I fully support this.
I am neither a Trump voter, I don't even vote, nor am I someone who lives in a currently red state, and I absolutely support this.
No, neither of us live in a red state according to this map.
Nope.
Neither does Dirica.
Yeah.
So, but the readout does. Many breathed a sigh of relief when President Biden was elected, not for policy, but for a reunification of the country after 4 years of tumultuous and fiery division under President Trump. But 8 months into a new presidency, America's deep disunity might not be letting up. A new poll has revealed that political divisions run so deep in the U.S. that over half of Trump voters want red states to secede from the union, and 41% of Biden voters want blue states to split off.
Hey, I support you both. Yes. I agree. You should all do that right now. Just fucking right now. Go do that.
According to the analysis from the University of Virginia's Center for Politics, 52% of Trump voters at least somewhat agree with the statement, quote, "The situation is such that I would favor blue/red states seceding from the union to form their own separate country." 25% of Trump voters strongly agreed.
Yeah. You guys, you do that. All right, do that. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Meanwhile, 40% of Biden voters at least somewhat agreed with the sentiment, while 18% strongly agreed.
Well, and remember, I mean, that divide that started to really show itself under the Trump administration, which is still hilarious because Trump is a New York Democrat anyway. It still hangs around though, because you still see it. Like if you ever go on Tinder, right, you'll still see on people's Tinder profiles, if you voted for Trump, swipe left. You'll still see that shit. You'll still see that on people's profiles on Twitter.
Same with the vaccines
Instagram
ones now too.
Yeah, you still see that shit, and it's been how long? I mean,
over 40% of voters in both parties favor abolishing the checks and balances built into the federal government and handing essentially full control to the president.
You know what? I support that too, because at that point,
I'm just saying,
I get what I want.
Yes. There's a lot of anarchists that will, or libertarians and anarchists that will talk about the monarchy, and a lot of people that don't understand that, because it's not a representative democracy, blah 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 blah. Well, there's only one head to cut off.
See, and that's the thing, is And on top of that, when I've talked, there's that debate, right? There's that debate about do you favor a malevolent democracy or a benevolent monarchy? And I always point out even a malevolent monarchy is easier to change than a malevolent democracy. And a benevolent monarchy historically has shown itself to, in fact, be wonderful for a country constantly. The thing is, what you got to remember is that if you have a monarchy, there's only one person that you need to worry about. There's really only one. So if there is only one, I only need to change one mind about an issue in order to cause change. I don't need to change 35 million minds, only one.
Well, not only that, but there's the argument for centralization versus decentralization, right? People talk about, we need a decentralized government. Well, we have a decentralized government. There is no central power in this government.
Yeah, there's not supposed to be anyway.
There's the president. There's 535 members of Congress. There's the 250,000 members of the federal government, and then there's the state government.